The Pacific War is usually remembered for its massive battles and famous dates, but hidden in the shadows are stories so wild they sound like movie plots. And today I've dug up 7 of them, a good old format. So sit back, relax, because here we go for a top 6. The warrior athlete Louis Zamperini could have been an Olympic legend if a world war hadn't gotten in the way. At the 1936 Olympics, he finished 8th in the 5,000 meters. Not bad. Top 10 in the world. But just as he was training for 1940, war broke out. Louis went from running tracks to flying bombing missions in the Pacific. A year later, his plane crashes into the ocean. He survives with 2 buddies on a raft for 47 days. Sharks circling, strafing from enemy planes, basically a survival horror. And just when they thought it was over, they were captured. Zamperini ends up in a brutal Japanese camp under a guard nicknamed the Bird. A man so cruel he could have been cast straight out of a villain role. Louis survives until liberation. Decades later, he even carries the Olympic torch through Nagano, just miles from where he once suffered as a prisoner. And if Zamperini's story is about endurance, the next one is about humiliation so deep, Japan erased it from history. The Erased Soldier, Kazuo Sakamaki, December 7th, 1941. He pilots a mini-submarine into Pearl Harbor. His mission? Sink American ships and never return. But nothing works. His sub malfunctions, he drifts helplessly, and finally exhausted, he washes up on shore. Right in front of an American base, he becomes the first Japanese prisoner of the Pacific War. But in Japan, capture was the ultimate shame. His name is erased from records. Officially, he never existed. Meanwhile, the Americans parade his submarine across the U.S. to raise war bonds. After the war, Sakamaki quietly reinvents himself, eventually becoming president of Toyota Brazil. From erased man to corporate success. But if you think that's wild, wait until you hear about the guy who turned being stranded into a one-man guerrilla war. 39 Days of Survival, July 1943. The USS Strong is torpedoed near the Solomon Islands. Among the survivors, a wounded sailor named Youth Miller. He makes it to an enemy island with a handful of comrades. Knowing he'll only slow them down, he tells them to leave him. They vanish into the jungle. So Miller makes a decision. If he's going to die, he'll take enemies with him. For 39 days, half crippled, he fights solo. Ambushes, grenades, close quarters knife attacks, a one-man guerrilla campaign in the jungle. When Americans finally find him, he's still alive, and credited with killing dozens. He returns home decorated with the Navy Cross. And if Miller's survival was insane, the next story is about a pilot who refused to fall from the sky, even after being shot in the head. The samurai of the sky, Saburo Sakai, was one of Japan's top aces, nicknamed the Samurai of the Sky. In August 1942, during Guadalcanal, he's shot in the head. Half his body goes numb. He loses vision in one eye. His plane dives, but somehow Sakai regains control, and then, unbelievably, flies nearly 900 kilometers back to base. 5 hours, half-blind, bleeding, dodging storms and enemies. Months later, he recovers enough to return to the skies. For him, that single day was a battle longer than most men's careers. But while Sakai proved Japan could reach the skies, another pilot proved they could even reach America's homeland. The one and only September 1942, Nobuo Fujita launches a tiny seaplane off a submarine. His target? US forests in Oregon. He drops incendiary bombs hoping to ignite massive fires, force panic, and draw troops away from the Pacific. Result? 2 small fires, quickly extinguished by rangers. But historically, he becomes the only Axis pilot to bomb the continental United States. Years later, the town of Brookings, Oregon invites him back. He gifts his samurai sword and plants a cedar tree at the bombing site, a quiet act of reconciliation. But while Oregon saw smoke, the icy waters of Alaska witnessed something far stranger, a battle fought like it was still the 19th century. Military anomaly, March 1943. Near the Komandorsky Islands, 2 fleets clash, no air support, no submarines. Just cruisers and destroyers blasting each other for hours in the freezing sea. The American fleet is smaller, outgunned, and badly battered. One cruiser, the Salt Lake City, takes hit after hit. But instead of finishing them, the Japanese retreat. The battle changes nothing strategically, but it remains a bizarre throwback. A pure naval duel fought the old-fashioned way in the middle of World War II. And finally, from chaos and destruction, one moment of respect that shocked everyone. From Olympic athletes turned prisoners, to bombs dropped on Oregon, to duels in frozen seas, the Pacific War wasn't just about the iconic battles we all remember. It was also about these strange, human, and unforgettable stories. Sometimes, the smaller tales are the ones that last the longest.